Hello? Hello?
Podcast Network Asia.
It's random because sometimes you get a call from Mark at 3 in the morning.
Uh-oh.
And then he's like, "Where are you?" It's like, "I'm at home, asleep." "Why?" "I need you to come out because I'm with Kobe Bryant."
Holy Moses! Did you get up?
No, because
You suck.
because I needed to go to sleep. I had work the next day, and I was like, "Mark, I'm so sorry."
My
Like,
only regret is I didn't take a photo.
Hey folks, this is Caco
And this is Gino Rufino.
You are listening to Torque of the Town. Welcome to another episode of Torque of the Town. Today, for the first time ever, we have a guest. And just to keep you up to speed on who our guest is and why our guest is here, let me give you a little bit of a background. See, this is how it works here. Okay, so our guest today has been in the automotive industry for at least 20 years. And when I say at least 20 years, I'm talking about starting out in 98, if I'm not mistaken, where his family got the license to distribute cars, certain beautiful cars, I might say, in the Philippines. That was back in 98. And we're talking about Jaguars and we're talking about Land Rovers. About 5 years later on, they got the license to bring in and sell one of the most beautifully made automobiles on the planet. You think about a small red car? Yeah, I'm talking about Ferrari. They were the distributors of that too. Then, out of the blue, this guy decides to say, okay, I'm done with that. I'm gonna do off-road. It's completely odd. Then from off-roading, he switches from 4 tires to 2 tires, and then he's off-roading on motorcycles, and then he does, get this, he does life coaching now. This guy basically did a Benjamin Button. He went life in reverse. Instead of being Scarface, where he started small and then eventually, I'm not talking about cocaine, no, we're not gonna go there. But eventually he went up he didn't go down the ranks, but he basically mellowed out for just a bit. Now, the reason why this particular guest is here with us today is because I would like to know if it's actually worth getting a sports car. And when I'm talking about a sports car, I'm not talking about your average 2-door that you put together in a garage. No, I'm talking about the creme de la creme, the elite of the elite, a sports car that comes not just from Japan, but perhaps those that are basically liquid metal that come from Europe, whether in what color that they come in, black, white, and most predominantly red. Our guest today is the eldest son of a very affable person by the name of Mr. Wellington Soong. It is Mr. Marc Soong. Mark, thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. Did I hear you right? First guest? What?
You are our first guest.
guest.
You
Oh,
are
oh,
very
yeah, you
first
have
guest.
that honor.
Oh, wow.
And you have that honor to speak after Caco's like 8-minute monologue to introduce you.
Dude, that was 3 minutes
I
and
now
20
look
seconds.
at my
bro.
life very differently.
But by the way, Caco, you forgot Maserati also.
I forgot. See, then can we redo that? No. We got to continue.
Yeah,
Okay, I forgot Maserati. So basically, Mark's family, Mark himself, is responsible for first bringing in Ferraris, Maseratis, Land Rover, Jaguars. And
What
the
are we
party
missing?
scene, if I'm not mistaken, too. Every once in a while, the guy knows how to party. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's random because sometimes you get a call from Mark at 3 in the morning.
Uh-oh.
And then he's like, "Where are you?" It's like, "I'm at home, asleep." "Why?" "I need you to come out because I'm with Kobe Bryant."
Holy Moses! Did you get up?
No, because
You suck.
because I needed to go to sleep. I had work the next day, and I was like, "Mark, I'm so sorry."
My
Like,
only regret is I didn't take a photo.
yeah, but I
my only
mean,
regret.
when you're out with that kind
Let
of
me get
a
this straight.
caliber talent athlete,
You
guest.
chose not to go with Mark on a night that Kobe Bryant was out because you had work the next day. What are you, 90?
Here's the thing. I've gone out with Kobe Bryant in Singapore, in the Philippines. I mean, it's not. It
excuse me.
wasn't new to me. So, but I was like, "Mark, I'm so sorry, but I can't go." Like it's gotten to that point that I was like, I have to wake up at 6 a.m. to go to work, and I was like, I'm out. I'm
Folks,
so
I'm
sorry.
going to let you know now at all points of this conversation between the two of them, I'm going to feel very left out just simply because of the topics that they just discussed right now. But so anyway, at the end of this program, I want Mark to be able to answer one simple question, and that is, Are sports cars actually worth it? Is the dream of the two-door liquid metal, whatever color it may be, automobile with X number of horsepower that can rip the hair from your head while traveling top down on the highway, is that car going to be worth it? Is the journey to it, the saving up, the everything that leads up to it, when you finally get that car, is it worth it? Now I know
Do I have to answer it now or
No,
later?
no.
Do it later.
Don't answer it just
Because I'm
yet.
actually very biased to two wheels now, so I have to shake off that bias by going back into life and finding my love for cars for the next 30 minutes again. Because I'm honestly really biased to two wheels right now, but.
And here's the thing, Mark's only been riding two wheels for a year.
just a year.
1 year, and he has like 50 motorbikes.
Oh, really?
I said,
I will deny.
Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be left out in this conversation for quite some time.
15 motorbikes.
15.
No, I will not.
10.
I will not confirm, nor will I
You do
deny.
realize, hang on, you do realize that you can only put your crotch on one motorcycle at a time. How many crotches do you own, dude?
I still have more cars and motorcycles. So
Wow, so
it's
okay,
yeah.
so
Yet again, I'm not part of this conversation once again.
I still have more cars and motorcycles, so it's not that bad.
No, but let's start with the cars,
Let's
because
start with the cars.
that's where you, I guess, when people think of Marc Soong, aside from being out in a club, it's about being in, the cars,
The
car
cars
scene.
behind the wheel of the car, or not necessarily behind the wheel of a car, but the person to talk to when you're interested in these particular automobiles, as has your family been in the longest time. So let's start there. Take us back to 98 when it first all happened.
So 98, actually, my dad's super secretive, and I went to him because I knew he was a Jaguar fan. So I went to him with a magazine, and there's a Jaguar in the cover. So I gave it to him. It's like, why don't you get one for yourself? Enjoy your life. At 18, I was talking to God already. He said, yeah. I mean, I was like, nah, it's okay. I'm not going to get that. It's like, get one. It's like, don't worry. Next year, I'm going to buy 30. I was like, yeah, right. Okay.
What?
Screw this. So I walk out, and then he takes us on vacation to the UK. And then we end up in this place. And then they're like, oh, it's Jaguar. It's like, oh, we're the dealers now.
He just sprung it on you.
Yeah, he just did it like that. And then, so that was 98, and we sold a lot of cars, and then the Asian crisis hit.
Yeah.
So it's not been easy. The automotive industry has not been an easy journey for us. We learned a lot, but it's not for the faint of heart to open a business during the Asian crisis.
Well, you guys make it look very, very easy. I mean, I'm being honest here. I mean, every time I see you or your dad,
I guess it's because we enjoy what we're doing. That's probably the main thing. If you enjoy what I was telling Gina the other day, if you're enjoying what you're doing, it's not work. But then I entered the business after college. My dad had a lot of problems, business, financial problems.
Yeah.
So instead of working outside, I said, okay, I'll help the family business. So I was thrown on the floor, started out as a salesman, and just worked my way and figuring things out on my own. And it's been a great, interesting journey. So I actually stepped in the company around 2002.
2000 after college.
Yes.
What was it like to be around all of these beautiful automobiles all the time? And I guess my follow-up question to that is, do you get tired of beautiful automobiles at some time, because it's just you've reached the pinnacle already? What's to strive for?
The first word that pops up when you say, how does it feel like? Number one word is frustration. So
Frustration?
Yeah, this is a kid.
Because you
know
can't
how to
drive
drive.
it.
You just got a light. You've been driving for a while, and I'm like, but you don't have one.
Yeah.
So seeing these cars every day, it's like, wow, this is really frustrating. You own the brand, you own the business, you own everything. And at the time, my dad's like, no, we can't afford demo units. We don't need demo units. It's going to get, and that's something I changed, no? When I eventually stepped in more, I convinced my dad that we need test drive units. We need to demonstrate. We need to do this. It has to be experiential. And we did the change. But going home to your normal car, I think I had an Accord at the time. So you drive a nice car for an hour. You go back to your car, back to reality. Like, okay, this is frustrating.
But I have to give it to Tito Willie, to Mark's dad, because for the longest time he had the 3-door RAV4.
Oh yeah,
the Toyota RAV4.
Okay.
And this is a guy who sold Ferrari, Maserati, Land Rover, Jaguar for so long.
And yet,
And then he would still go back to that RAV4.
Yeah, I remember in the house, I left, so I saw two cars. I see the 97 three-door RAV4 and then the two-door sports car. I won't say which one, but so I jump in the RAV4, drive off, and in like 10 minutes, my phone's ringing. Where did you go? Where's my car? I was like, I left the sports car for you. You come back here. I said, use this car. Why are you using that car? I was like, wow, okay, fine. I'm sorry. I'm going to jump in the two-door. But he always says, kasi that's the car that took him through the rough times. That's what he always says. I was like, why the hell do you keep that? I think he spent more restoring it than its actual value. Yeah,
I'm gonna come back to that RAV4 story because a little bit later, because this may be the first time that I've heard it, but I have a inkling of a doubt, of a feeling that it's basically what has kept you also grounded, bringing you back to your current position now, which is being a life coach. But let's continue first about with the cars. So you were around Jaguars for quite some time, and you thought that was frustrating. Now, how did it feel 5 years later when you guys got the license to bring in Ferraris?
Actually, what came before that was, we don't really normally talk about our old brands, the two old British brands, but it's fact of life that we went through it. So Land Rover was my first love.
Yeah,
Land Rover.
And in
Okay.
fact, Land Rover. When I think Marc Soong, Land Rover is what comes to my head.
True.
My dad was Jag, I was Land Rover.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it was Marc Soong in his Steve Irwin outfit with the khaki outfit.
That's right. They were going
Right?
out of the country to compete in
in the
Rainforest
Challenge.
Rainforest Challenge. But yes,
With
Mark was basically
With the hat.
exactly
that
how
was Marc
Gino's
Soong.
describing it. Yeah.
So I was a Land Rover dealer without a Land Rover.
Yeah.
And I went abroad, and we actually weren't direct to Land Rover at the time. Just these are private stories that I can talk about because they're done. No, but
Yeah, and no one listens to us anyway. So go ahead, tell us.
No, but among friends, of course. No. I hope someone will learn something from this. And we weren't direct to Land Rover. We were
Okay.
a reseller.
Oh, okay.
We were assigned by official Land Rover. Our volumes were potentially low. They assigned us to a guy out of the UK and said, "You work with these guys." Okay. And that first year, we barely sold like 9 cars or 12 cars.
Okay.
We barely made it. And I went abroad, and this guy who wasn't qualified to say it, he just was being a dick that day, I guess. We were in a nice, beautiful drive in the brand new Range Rover in Spain. And he said, "If you keep this up, we're going to change you next year." He wasn't even authorized to say that, but it drove me crazy. So I came home and I said, "What's wrong?" I said, "You're the Land Rover dealer. Number one, you don't have a Land Rover. Number two, you don't know how to drive off-road." It's like, okay, I'm going to drive off-road.
Yeah.
So I bought the cheapest. I spent months in Robbie Consuni. I months looking for the Defender I could afford.
Yeah.
So I found one eventually for under $1 million, like
Okay.
600 grand maybe or something like that.
Okay.
And I bought it and I learned on it.
It was
And
running at 600
It was
grand.
running at 600 grand. Yeah.
Wow.
But that was the brand new price in '98.
Oh, 98. Sorry, I'm thinking. No. Okay.
I bought it in like 2004, 2005. It was sold in '98 for like 600, 700 grand. I still bought it for 600 grand. But the car
Wow.
now is probably worth $1 million, $1.5 million bucks. And I learned on it. So to walk the talk, diba? I had
Correct.
to learn how. And then we jumped off the cliff completely. We competed internationally,
Correct.
Rainforest Challenge and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, and you guys were very involved. You and Tita Rob were very involved with the Land Rover Club of the Philippines.
Yes.
To the point that I remember, was it Ondoy? It was one of the Typhoons, and I was helping out with the Red Cross, and we needed to get products. We needed to get the goods to the evacuation centers.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd call Mark and ask for help. So he did. He showed up with the Land Rover Club of the Philippines, and then later on, I found out what they had to do in order to actually get that done. Because I didn't know where he came from. Like I didn't know the ordeal that they went through, and then I find out way afterwards. Like I can't believe you guys still said yes to help out.
Yeah.
Despite because you guys were traveling during that storm.
Yes.
And you guys were stuck abroad in the
I
hotel.
got stuck.
Yeah.
I got stuck. They were able to come home.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That was-
I didn't even know that.
So I mean, imagine he barely got back to the Philippines with almost zero sleep after how many hours or days of traveling. And then one phone call, or was it maybe even a text, They show up at the Red Cross to help deliver the
goods.
stuff. The
I,
goods.
Yeah.
I went to the Frankfurt Motor Show, and my dad was
you
saving.
were-
Well, number one, saving money.
Hang on, you weren't even in Asia.
No.
I spent a week. I spent like a week in Germany.
Jeez.
And then from Germany, I was sleeping on the cement floor in between my dad and my brother because there were no rooms. This is the press release, but the truth is my dad was just being a cheapskate. So I slept. So I slept on the cement in between these guys on the floor. And I was complaining, it's like, my back's hurting after 3 days on the floor. And then he's like, yeah, just live with it. So then I flew to China, did the Rainforest Challenge. I camped in a buffalo farm with leeches, everything. We did 5th overall. And that car, we were invited 2 months before. And Robbie said, let's compete. We have free entrance and free shipping. So he's like, what car do we use? My car. So we sent my car. And we competed. We won 5th overall in our first outing. And
Wow.
I spent 3-4 days in the jungle. And so we fly. And then it was so hard that the whole event was canceled. It rained. 12 cars went in. 2 cars came out in the other end. They canceled the whole event.
Oh my God.
That hard. As in,
Yeah.
I was in tears already by myself in the jungle. It's like, I don't want to do this again.
I want to get out. Get me out.
Yeah. So when I called my dad, he's like, remember I was complaining about the cement floor?
I missed that floor.
It's a mansion. And I'm there, whatever, turning on and off the light. Ah, light. And then we fly home and I get broken up with my team. We fly home, I get broken up with my team, and I get stranded in Hong Kong for one night by myself in the airport. We fly home to Manila during when Ondoy hit, and I was flown back to Hong Kong. And I spent another night in the airport. It's a long story, but I'm making
Yeah.
it short. And then I flew home, finally got home, and that night, people started messaging me. I just
Yeah.
showered. Mark, we need to rescue something. Okay. Put all my clothes and left.
Yeah. Like
You'd think he'd be making this up, but it's
no, it's not. It's real.
it's for real.
It's real. But it's Marc Soong.
That's
right?
true.
That's. Put it this way. I have this bracelet. That if it's what I use for a motorcycle. There's an emergency number in my bracelet.
Yeah.
And my emergency number is my mom. Then a friend of ours, Marc Soong, Mark Nelson, I should say.
Yeah.
Mark Nelson was gonna get the same bracelet because he's Gaya. He just likes to copy everything that I do. And so he got the same bracelet, and then he put my name because he doesn't have family here, right?
Okay.
So I told him, I was like, Mark, listen, I appreciate it, and I would do anything to help you out if anything ever happened to you. But you know what I would do? I would probably call Marc Soong. And then, so Mark Nelson was like, you're right.
That's a
I'd
good
probably do
point.
the same thing. So he changed the number and put Mark's number there.
That is to say the very least, the
Yeah.
kind of caliber of person that our guest is here today. Folks, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Short?
Yeah, that's right. We'll be right back from after a few short messages. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We've got AutoDeal and MotoDeal. This podcast is brought to you by Podcast Network Asia. We'll be right back.
Before we continue with this episode, I want to remind everybody out there that we are in the new normal. And in this new normal, it might be a little bit difficult to take public transportation. So, what is the best way to get around from point A to point B, to go to work, to go visit your loved ones, socially distanced? Well, that is taking a motorbike. And if you want to learn more about bikes, if you want to learn more about what best bike suits your lifestyle, well, you can check out AutoDeal.com.ph. We got every single brand there, all the different types of models, whatever suits your budget and your lifestyle. Check out AutoDeal.com.ph.
Cars are better.
Nope, bikes are.
We're back on Talk of the Town, talking with our very first guest ever. That's right, very first guest ever, Mr. Marc Soong. And at the end of the program, I promised our listeners that we are going to find out whether getting that sports car is actually worth it. All the pain, the suffering, the saving, the perhaps skimping on Christmas gifts for yourself and family members that you don't really like anyway. Is it all worth it to get that sports car? And he will answer that question a little bit later in the program. But in the meantime, we're going to get back to talking about Mark, where he told us earlier that his first love was actually Land Rover when his family brought in Jaguar Land Rover. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the program, about a handful of years later, they became the exclusive distributor for some of the sexiest cars on the planet, which are Ferraris and Maseratis. And although I did ask Mark if what was it like to be around all these automobiles, meaning the Jaguars and the Land Rovers growing up, and he said it's frustrating because, you get back to your daily drive after a while. But now I guess the question is better asked, what was it like being around all of these liquid metal machines that go from zero to God knows what in a snap of a finger? These Italian sports cars. What was it like being around those?
So fast forward, from frustrating, I'd change the word moving forward to appreciate. Because suddenly, since you're so deprived growing up, once you do have it, you still super appreciate it. So I mean, like, I have a drive on Sunday. I'm using a 12-cylinder 800 horsepower car. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Because it's always been, we've always kept it on the silver platter, and wow, we look forward to it.
Okay.
So some of being deprived a bit makes me, up till today, appreciate it more.
Okay.
Do you think your dad did it intentionally with that in mind?
Probably the same analogy with the sleeping between the two beds.
So
the press release would be, he did that.
But the truth is, as he mentioned that he was just
Probably just being a cheapskate. No, but he had good intentions. I've actually heard the story of him discouraging a father from buying the kid a sports car because he wasn't ready for it.
Yes, I remember him telling that story. Yeah, correct.
So, I guess there is some truth to it. Probably 80% that.
80% that.
20% cheapskate. Kidding. I'm kidding.
But I want to get into you. I remember I was doing the Vios Cup, and
I forgot to mention that Mark's done the Vios Cup as well.
You and I have known each other for so long, but you never once mentioned to me that you would be interested to join the Vios Cup until like months before you actually joined.
Yeah.
Like it was like you were first interested in helping the team, the Avengers, just helping them out.
Yeah.
Without actually getting in the race car. And then all of a sudden, I hear that you started to practice, that you got Alan as your coach.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, little by little, I was like, wow, I think Mark's going to race. And true enough, you did.
Yeah.
So what got you into that? I know the story.
Yeah.
But maybe if it's something that you want to share.
Yeah, sure. So Land Rover, the first year we did 12 cars, and I immersed myself in the brand, and we grew it. Next year was 90, then 150, 200. We were really doing well. And then my world came crashing down. We closed the dealership after many years.
Yeah.
And that was the lowest point of my life. Gino knows this. I was like ready to blow my brains out now, literally. And
shit, are you serious?
Yeah, seriously. It was that stressful because my mom had a liver transplant. My best friend died. I closed my business.
That's right,
I was like, oh my God, and I was like, wow, this is it. I'm done with this. And my wife dragged me she went to Harvard for 10 days, and when she was there, I was telling her I wanted to hurt myself now, and she's like, your life's good. And she rushed home from Harvard after 10 days. Someone probably told her. She dragged me to a therapist, psychiatrist, everything. I settled down, and I picked the pieces up. I was like, what do I have? I have Ferrari, I have Maserati. It's okay. So my brother Jason runs Maserati, and Ferrari is like, what's Ferrari about? Racing. But I don't know how to race. Might as well. And my love of my life is gone. Let's learn something new. But I'm like 37 years old. What the hell do you know about racing? And I'm super overweight. I was super overweight because I was just out of it.
Depression.
And I bought a Ferrari.
In the middle of your depression, you bought a Ferrari.
I bought a Ferrari. It's the cheapest.
It's good to be a depressed like Mark. Huh?
It's the cheapest Ferrari I could afford.
Okay.
So the Ferrari arrives, and I say, I'm going to learn on this car. So the Ferrari's there.
He decides to learn racing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I opened.
Not many people can do that. But
I opened my. Well, it was really cheap. I promise, it was really cheap.
See, that's relative.
Relative. Exactly what I was
Kako,
going
what's
to say.
cheap to you and I is not necessary. It's like
Yeah.
But
You know
like
what's
something I could
cheap?
afford.
Okay, fine.
So
Okay, fair.
I look at the
Go.
parts. I'm like, transmission, 16,000 euros.
Wah, wah,
I can't learn on this. So I call my friend Costco and I say, Costco, Avengers, Toyota, Balintawak,
Correct.
and then all that. Can I buy a Toyota 86? Like, he's like, why? I want to learn how to race because I'm Ferrari.
But I want to race in a Toyota.
Why you want to race a 86? If you want to learn how to race, drive that up for my Vios Cup. I was like, no, I can't. Because the first round, Alan invited me to
Yeah,
race.
yeah.
They got my shoes, gloves, and then Toyota was like, no, he's in the car industry. Don't get him. So, I didn't join. And then I told Costco, well, if that's clear, give me 10 minutes. Call me back. Oh, you're on the team.
And it was done.
That's done. And then I got a personal, and then I was like 3 months before racing. I was going to kill myself on the racetrack. So I got a personal coach, Alan Uy. And in the first, I probably from 9th place. And then suddenly in the last, Alan's a really good coach. My weight penalties, I'm normally 50 kilos heavier. And like per 20 pounds, it's like 1 second. He made me, in the last 2 races, he made me pole position.
Wow.
From 0 to pole position
Yeah.
because of Alan. In my first year,
Well, let's not take anything out of it. I mean, you probably were a good student as well, listening to everything that he had to say.
because I didn't know much, so I was a clean sheet of paper.
You were a sponge.
Yes, I had attended so many training courses on track, but I never really understood anything, and then just do la la la. So like before, if you were to give me a nice car on the racetrack, it's probably like a Bluetooth speaker. And then after learning how to drive properly, it's like I have a full orchestra now when you give me a car. 'Cause before,
I
it was like a
see.
show and tell.
Okay,
walking.
okay.
But this one, I really know. Because in the first year, I did 1,000 laps. On the second year, I did another 2,000 laps. Another 1,000 laps. I was doing 1,000 a year. I just kept on doing it.
Wow. 1,000 laps a year.
Yeah.
That's
So I'll go and I'll do 50 to 70 laps a day.
Jeez.
And then I got into a car accident.
You know what? These stories just keep getting better and better, man.
No, Mark's one of the best storytellers ever. Yeah.
And then I was picking up the pieces with Ferrari, Maserati, and but we had the whole company our morale was down, and I got a consultant. We were revisiting our mission, vision, core values, and a month before that, I got hit in the Vios Cup and had spinal surgery. So I had to choose.
Damn.
So my life-changing meeting to change my whole company was on this day. It's like 2 weeks before that, the doctor says, you need emergency surgery. You're paralyzed waist down. And I was like, okay, so 2 things na lang. Sabi ko, when can I race again? Because I have a race in 35 days.
Yeah.
Or 40 days.
Was that the Alabang race?
Yeah, Labang race.
Yeah,
And then I have a meeting in a week and a half. Can I attend it? You can attend your meeting in a week and a half. And that was our life-changing meeting for the company to bring everyone together, change.
Yeah.
And in that process for my depression again, that's why I ended up in life coaching. Parang I want to give
Okay.
back. So that's that whole process to shortcut it. Parang I ended up a life coach. Love
Okay.
no?
Yeah.
Medyo. We did skip a very important part of your life
Which
that
is?
Gino was basically, we were kind of hoping that you'd discuss with Gino, which is switching to motorcycles.
Oh,
Diba?
that happened. Like
After?
he was a life coach already.
Yeah, I was a life coach.
I'm sorry. I got the timeline
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
I had assumed that it was motorcycles first before becoming a life coach.
No, and then we sold our company.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're still part owners. But for a year, there was a professional group running it. Now there are new people. The pandemic hasn't been kind to
Yeah,
everyone.
I'm sure,
I just
yeah.
saw the latest results.
And not good.
The whole Philippines we didn't do too bad. Put it that way compared to
Yeah.
everyone else. So
It's kind of odd. I would assume that the people with money to purchase such automobiles as the ones that we discussed, you'd think that they'd be not virus proof but pandemic proof.
yeah, it's more of the entry models actually that they're having a harder time.
The
The
entry
higher end
models.
cars.
So it's the ones who have the extra cash that the old customers before are still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume, right? So those guys are pandemic proof.
Pandemic proof.
And then tapos nag-YOLO pa. No, let's buy some more. Parang we don't know what's gonna happen anymore. Bahala na.
I raced for 3 years. Then sponsored by Costco 2 years, and the last year, so we missed a whole year. Last year, I bought my own car, did my own thing.
Yeah, and that was the Make-A-Wish.
Yes, I ran for.
Yeah.
I supported Make-A-Wish Foundation. Made my own team, Make-A-Wish Foundation, but since I wasn't, parang wait, if I'm not gonna be racing Ferraris anymore, what do I do? I literally have ADHD.
Yeah.
Diagnosed ADHD, medicated for whatever it's worth. But it's like, I need to do something to get this energy out. I mean, if I'm not doing my 1,000 laps a year,
Gotta do something.
It's like, Gino, I want to ride a motorcycle.
I actually remember that day. So he gives me a call, shoots me a text, gives me a call. And he started asking me all these questions about bikes. And I was like, oh boy, here it comes. I could feel it there. And then, sure enough, he gets a scooter first.
Okay.
Dirt bike first.
Oh, sorry, dirt bike first. 2 dirt bikes.
One
So-
lang first. One dirt bike, then a scooter, then a second dirt bike.
I'm seeing a
Okay.
trend here. Apparently, Mark doesn't just get one thing. He
No,
gets
no.
several
He- yeah.
things at
So-
the same time.
To show you the obsession, this I'll share because it's kind of done. I took a coaching Gino's actually a coach, by the way.
Yeah.
So he's done with
okay. I didn't know that.
He's done with up to his higher level coaching.
He's not a
levels.
very good one.
And I found out recently I was a perfectionist. I was like, I'm so kalat, how can I be a perfectionist? But with Land Rover, I said, I'm going to collect every model. I ended up with 35 cars. But these aren't expensive cars. So it's
Again, relative, but
no. I would buy,
Very
back in the day, Land Rover wasn't uso. I'd buy a car for $35,000, $50,000. I bought like 5 cars for $150,000.
Okay.
This is junk, but I had to complete it. So I told myself I'm not doing that with motorcycles. I'm only buying one motorcycle. And my friend, where I keep my motorcycles, it's not at home. He's like, "Oh, you're getting into motorcycles? I'm going to clear this whole area because at the end of the year you could have 10." I was like,
And pumayag ka naman. You had 10.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah, so I was learning how to ride on dirt, off-road, on trail.
Okay.
And then Mark was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be there also in the same class, in the same of Melakino."
I bought a dirt bike and I sent it there because I didn't know how to ride.
Yeah. So
Did you send it there because you didn't know how to ride or because you were hiding it from your family?
Both.
Okay, just checking.
so he was learning how to ride from scratch on dirt,
Okay.
on trail. I was learning how to trail. So it was
Okay.
so basically he did the course that was basically learn how to ride. So he's never ridden a bike before. And then he was telling me when we were there, I'm only gonna ride off-road. I'm only gonna ride on trail. I'm never gonna ride in pavement. I'm never gonna ride on the road, whatever.
Famous last word.
So I was like, okay, good. So at least that one, the slow speeds, it's medyo, he's sanay with the terrain. It's something that he's quite familiar with his Land Rover days.
Oh yeah, sure. With trees that don't move unless they decide to cross the road and then you smash into them.
I want to take Caco actually.
You should.
Yeah, he's
But
chickening out now.
But he can't reach the ground.
reach the ground
I
on
will-
higher
I will-
motorcycles.
I will shave a seat for you.
There's those
Shave
kiddie
a
bikes.
seat.
The kiddie bikes he can
You know,
use.
Gino, you suck. Continue your story.
But my biggest reason why I was so relieved that said that he was not gonna ride on the road was that if his dad ever asked me, or if his brother ever asked me if he rides bikes,
plausible deniability.
I could say like, well, he does it on the trail, which is relatively safer compared to being on public roads. After that session in KRB in the dirt track,
Yeah.
what? A couple weeks later, he ends up with a BMW GS 850. Is that correct? The 850 was
800.
800. Because he
Didn't know how
sends
to ride it also.
He didn't know how to ride it. But he sends me a picture of him in BMW Libis. And I'm like, oh, great.
What is he doing there?
Great. He is going to buy that for sure.
But I'll just show a big difference though. No? You walk into a car dealership and they're like, boss, everything.
Correct.
You walk into a motorcycle dealership,
They don't give a shit?
but no one gives a shit. They're
Really?
almost pissed off that you're there.
What? No,
the
come on.
brand leaders
Come
are.
on.
The luxury motorcycles are awesome to walk in. But I was in Honda
Yeah.
in Makati.
EDSA.
It's my birthday that day, and I said I'm buying my first motorcycle.
The Honda near Guadalupe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, why here? Looking at me. Looked up in his laptop and he's like, "Wah." I was like, it's my birthday. I'm buying this motorbike. How do I get it? Like,
Yeah. And
I walked out. I was like,
he messages me pissed off.
Yeah.
He's so mad. He's like, can you believe these people in Honda? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I was ready to buy a bike. It's like, I was kind of relieved that he didn't buy it because
Okay.
because I wasn't convinced that he should be riding on the road.
Okay.
Right? So
which brought me to BMW, used one.
and that's when he sends me the picture.
Hang on. Time out. So you're telling me because you got dissed by a sales agent in Honda, where
Yeah.
you were probably going to spend
It
maybe
was-
1/8 of what you did for a BMW.
No,
That
to be
sent you to
specific, I
BM?
think the bike was 400,000 pesos. I
Which
think
one? The
Honda.
The BMW?
No,
The Honda.
the Honda was like 400 maybe? The
Close.
CB500X, something like that.
Okay, yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, but it was my 5th trip already there. So my point lang to myself was, wow, if this is how they treat you while you're buying something,
yeah.
what more
sales.
when you need something?
Yeah. You know what it was like?
So it's like, wow, that's...
After his trip to Honda, and then he went to BMW, what it was like, I'm sure that he wanted to go back to Honda with that BMW, right?
Just to tell them.
No.
So it would have been like that scene in Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that shopping scene in Pretty Woman is like, big mistake. Huge. Big.
I have to go now. Speaking of have to go now, we're going to take a short break. Here we go again with the
Short now. Short.
I'm going to say quick break. Is that better? You.
Well, I can think of a few things if you're quick.
You know what?
I've heard you're quick.
It's very difficult to have a decent conversation with these two, but we're gonna attempt to when we come back after these short messages again with the short. Talk of the Town is brought to you by Podcast Network Asia. We'll be right back. Before we continue on with this episode, I'd like to remind everybody to check out AutoDeal.com.ph. We're not just all about reviews, but we also do car sales. Believe it or not, whether it's brand new or secondhand, we have them on our website. And the beauty about it is that when you go to AutoDeal.com.ph, we connect you to the dealer that is closest to you, whether you live in Luzon, Visayas, or Mindanao. Plus, you will always get the best deal with AutoDeal.com.ph. So do come check it out.
All right, welcome back to Talk of the Town with Gina Rufino, Caco and our very, very first guest, the lovely Marc Soong.
I was just compared to Julia Roberts.
Yeah,
So.
that's why I went with the lovely, because the last thing we said was Pretty Woman.
I can't.
You know,
can't.
as
Because
we
I can
probably
just totally imagine Mark walking down Rodeo Drive
with the shopping bag.
with shopping bags going up to everyone going, big mistake.
But clients,
Yeah,
big
big
clients,
mistake.
clients of the. I could write a book about experiences with clients. So
Sure.
I had one client who he was trying to buy a car, and they wouldn't mind him, and he bought 2 or 3 cars and went back to the showroom, and I won't say the brands na. Kawawa
Yeah.
naman. And they flaunted all the 3 cars parked in front, and so it does happen. Once in a
sure,
while. Of course, and
really.
I get some clients who walk in like, I want to buy a car right now. It's like, why? They wouldn't let me in the showroom. Not the place. It's like,
Wow.
sure.
It happens, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Big mistake. Big, huge.
So I thought that only really happened in movies, and
Yeah,
apparently
the
it does
guy who
happen.
flaunted the cars is the same guy. He had a 4-year-old son at the time, and they were jumping. He likes to look at cars. He dirtied the rear seat of a Volkswagen Beetle at the time, and he got Jai and he bought it.
Wow.
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 Really? So that's,
I'd like to borrow this guy
Yeah.
for a few purchases myself.
Yeah. Yeah, but Mark is, as you've known throughout this episode, you've probably figured out that when he gets into something,
He really
he
gets into
really
something.
gets into something.
He dives in head
Yeah.
first, wallet in hand,
Yeah,
kind of a thing.
So, and the reason why I say that is because what he did with the land, like his what he did with the Land Rover,
Yeah.
and then Rainforest Challenge, and then the racing. He kind of did with the motorbikes, because there is a guy within the first couple of months of riding a motorcycle. I remember I used to pace him. I used to, like, we'd ride on like S-Lex or N-Lex, and I'd travel pretty slow at about 80 kilometers, 60 kilometers per hour, just so that he's comfortable,
Okay.
right? So
So he'd tail you.
tail me. And then there's another friend of ours who's in the back, and then that's just basically we travel at that speed.
John and Gina really took care of me. If you're about to start to ride with anything, number one, get the proper education and have good friends. They really held my hand. No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed them holding my
Is that
hand.
the only thing they held?
Yeah. But so having said that, he now trails in some of the hardest trails in the Philippines.
Can you do it?
No, I can't. And I refuse to go with him when he says, no, easy trail, light trail, whatever. I'm like, no way, dude. I am not going to go with you because the last time I went with you on a light trail, which is admittedly an easy trail,
Yeah.
was a little bit difficult already. And that was dry. So when it's wet, I could imagine how much more difficult it is.
Correct, yeah.
And the harder trails. Because if what I did was level 1 and it was not that easy, it was okay lang. It was something that's, all right, I can get through this without falling and I'm good.
Okay.
But I know anything more than that, and I've seen the photos and I've seen videos. It's like, wow, I don't know if I can get that. I can get through that.
And yet he does.
He does.
Mark does.
Yeah. So that just gives you an idea of his obsessive personality.
This is all within a span of a year,
Wala
too.
pang 1 year.
Wala pang 1 year.
Siguro in a span of like 6 months, he was doing those trails.
Were you like...
Looking back, actually, I wouldn't recommend it to other people to buy the biggest bike and just learn on it.
Yeah.
That's what I...
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do it again, but I wouldn't recommend it to others.
Yeah. So a lot of the bikes he owns are for trail and for dirt.
Correct.
And it's, that style. It's very Land Rover-ish, right? But he also has a GS 1250, the granddaddy of all
The granddaddy of them all,
motorcycles,
yeah.
right?
It's, if I'm not mistaken, that's the same motorcycle that Ewan McGregor took
Yeah.
to trail the world, right?
Yeah, go around the world.
Yeah.
And that bike, I have to say that he did it the right way, because before, when he was starting out with the smaller GS and the scooters, it was just me and another friend, Bray and John Morniel, taking him going around. When he got the GS, it's like, I don't know how to ride. I have never ridden a GS 1250. He basically rides now with Toto, who is the one instructor, BMW licensed instructor.
7 of them, but he's the...
Okay, he's the top.
Yeah.
He's the top BMW motorcycle riding instructor in the Philippines.
Okay.
I want to make bawi na konti to Honda. I'm sorry. What they have though is the most. So I went to Melakino to learn. I bought a bike, brought it there, and they're like, okay, so this is the brake, this is the clutch. Ah, that's a clutch. That's
Oh, no.
Yeah.
swear to God.
Yeah. Seriously?
Swear to God. Actually, my right lever was putol. I thought it was aftermarket. That's how bad it was until Gaki points it out. Your lever's broken. Ah, I thought it was aftermarket. It's like after a month na. It's like after a month. I thought it was an aftermarket option. I was like, come on. I want to use dirt bike. But so after that, the week after, I went to Honda riding school. And I learned that's the most the nicest people, the most amazing experience. Everyone should do the Honda riding school. There's super nice people there.
Honda riding school by the South SLEX.
Everyone should take it. Everyone should take it.
If you're gonna ride a motorcycle, I suggest you take that course.
Yes.
Even if you know how already.
Yes. Okay, I will.
Yeah, I'll take you. I'll take you to Melakino. Okay. I'll find a shade seat for you. I've been inviting him. I've been inviting him not to make you victim or anything, but
at first I was like game, and then I hear the stories today of what it is that you've been able to accomplish and what you've surpassed, and I'm thinking that might not be such a good idea to take on Mark at the first go. Maybe I take what Gino said, take those tiny little 49cc dirt bikes and go around, I don't know, small little chocolate hills and mounds and
that's it. That's the training ground. That's where you learn. That's Melakina School.
Okay. Actually, the Melakina School is one of the best you could take. In the country in terms of learning how to ride dirt, or even learning how to ride, period. If you can't go to the Honda Safety Riding School because of the schedule, I know they're
full.
They're full.
They're closed now, but they're full.
While
So,
I do
Filipino
understand
would be-
that these things are very, very important, you guys also have to realize that there is one person that I need to answer to and ask
Absolutely.
permission from.
Yeah.
Although it is easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission when it
True.
comes to these things, I will get back to you soon as I can.
I'll never invite you to ride on the highway. It is admittedly very dangerous in the Philippines
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
But I invite everyone to the ride off-road, ride dirt, anyone, because you won't die. You can get hurt.
You can,
You
you
can
lose a leg.
No,
no,
naman.
lose a leg. Break a couple of bones.
I read the statistics before getting into it. Yeah.
Yeah, so when he bought actually it was the GS 800 palang, the smaller GS.
Okay.
This genius hid it behind a Ferrari in the shop.
Maserati Levante.
Sorry.
Speak naman.
Malaki naman. Levante, malaki.
And then his brother calls me up and asks, "Is that Mark's motorcycle in the garage?"
Dude, I would love to know what you said. Come on.
So, first of all, I was like, "Jace, I'm not there. I don't know."
Delaying tactics ka agad.
It was in the office because I didn't know how to ride it.
Yeah.
So why the hell did you buy it?
To learn.
He bought a Ferrari to learn how to race.
And a GS.
But I ended up in a Vios.
Yeah. And then he buys a BMW GS to learn how to ride. But and it's funny because every time we ride now, let's say on S-Lex or N-Lex, he will always say, "Hey," on our comms device.
Yeah.
It's like, "I'm actually enjoying riding on the road." I'm like, "Mark, you say this every single time."
It's scary. It's scary. The people are crazy.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
drive crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, I would not invite you to ride with me on cement. If you decide to ride on cement, that's your own decision.
Bahala ka na.
It's your decision. Dirt, I'll take care of you 100%. Bring you home in one piece because I will have the best people with us.
But on the
highway, decide on your own if you want to take that step. It's very dangerous.
That's scary for you, huh?
Yeah, it's scary. And actually, for a guy who had spine surgery,
Yeah.
even the Vios, the guy told me you can only start driving in 6 months. I tried to join my race in 30 days.
Yeah.
Bad
And,
idea.
But I was there with a fake medical certificate from an ophthalmologist. And my doctor
An
calls me. I
ophthalmologist
think
from
my,
a spine.
my spine surgeon said, "I think I know what you're trying to do. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Just wait na lang." So I was able to go to Fuji,
Okay.
and I
What'd you do in Fuji?
With Angie.
well, 2 weeks before that, parang like 60 days after, I was off-roading na, pero in back brakes, driving slow, general na car, unexplored place,
Okay.
wild off-roading anyway. And then I went to Fuji, invited by Mazda for the MX-5. That's one of
okay.
the best sports cars ever in the world,
Yeah.
most amazing. And I had the privilege of driving the MX-5 Cup car in Fuji. I had to crawl into the car because I had spine surgery. I couldn't get in the car. I was crawling in
MX.
and then back, and then I drove Fuji. I mean, that's how obsessed I was. No? And then I was able to race. Doctor told me I could drive in 6 months. He gave me clearance to race in 4 months but I worked on it.
Dude, you are one crazy dude.
I worked on it. So that but he doesn't know I'm off-road riding yet. Dirt biking.
How many? You know what? There's so many secrets that you're spilling right
There's
now.
a lot. There's a lot. But you know, with Mark, right? So he got super obsessed with the Land Rover and off-roading. He got super obsessed with racing on the circuit, super obsessed with motorbikes.
Yeah.
And then he's taken all of that, all of those, when he gets into something, he really gets into something, right? And he's taken all of that into what he does very well now in coaching.
Correct.
Thanks.
And it's,
And Jinno again. I've invited Jinno, and over lockdown, Jinno became a coach.
yeah.
Excellent.
I've actually managed to coach a couple of people. And I've had positive feedback from
Great.
from
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't know that Gina, that you were a coach. But from Mark, I saw recently on a post that you made that in the past year that you did over 450 coaches to people. You speak to them individually and you help them. What is it exactly that you help them figure shit out? Was that what it is?
Well, I've worked even with kids up to 11 years old. I've worked with kids.
Okay.
So
And what is
without breaking any privacy, traumatic experiences for executives who need to find out why they're doing what they're doing, or how to. The AutoDeal guys would know. I've met them a couple of times, showed them what I do.
Is it basically to overcome hurdles?
If you have a goal, I help you get to it. And we clear out issues along the way. Sometimes we dig up that, I had a traumatic experience when I was a 6-year-old child. And then you find that out, and then you work from there, clear things out, and move forward.
Just to ask, do you think that your experiences with, let's say, for example, learning how to ride a motorcycle on a GS or wanting to race a car in a Ferrari, which is completely the wrong way to go, these are the kind of experiences that bring you to be able to becoming a good life coach because you're telling them, don't be me?
Yeah, I don't know how to... What's the question again? I don't know how to answer.
How about you show Caco just a quick session, a quick.
Yeah, we should.
We should, but we don't have time on air. I don't think we're gonna.
Offline. No, so I took my master's in coaching abroad.
Okay.
In Mauritius. So I was inspired by people. It's like, what do you do? I want to be like you. So we're professional coaches. Okay. So I did high level, didn't understand anything. Then I went level 1, level 2, then I went to Mauritius. And when I was in Mauritius, I said, on my first year, I'm going to coach 1,000 people to make a difference in the world.
Holy
It's
crap.
like, yeah, right. Will I do it? And right before I became, so I did, now I've done 450. That's individual and group, 30 people. But I've spoken to crowds, another like 600 people en masse.
Whoa.
And then, right before I hit the deadline, I went on air with James Deacon.
Okay.
And it was right before my deadline for 1,000, and I did an online coaching session. And everyone joined in. People were sending me messages. I was supposed to show up on James's show for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We ended up taking the whole hour. He cried.
And he was crying. He was crying.
Right on air.
I didn't see
And
that one.
People were crying on air. And then when someone sent me the views, it was like 30,000 people. So right before my deadline, I had reached 30,000 people plus it's like, okay, I hit my goal.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it's
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I've used coaching to even help just to bring us back to motoring, no? An automotive group, I worked with 90 of their salespeople. And the months after that, they all hit their targets and everyone was very happy. So I work with people 30 at a time because the automotive industry is one of the most stressful, especially sales, is one of the most stressful environments you can ever. I told you, I wanted to blow my brains out at a certain point.
Correct, yeah.
It was personal, it was business, everything. So if there's any motoring people, salesmen out there, I salute them because it's one of the most difficult things to do. The automotive industry is very, very difficult. I mean, imagine a cell phone. By the time sometimes you get your phone, it's already outdated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, make that $1 million, that phone.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have the product and there's already something coming out. So that churn,
Yeah.
that machine can drive people crazy.
So maybe that's why the people in Honda treated you badly.
No, but the motorcycle parts, they're beating away people from entering. It's like so much.
Yeah.
So they have the
Especially
arrogance of the volume.
Yeah.
Which kudos to the like BMW. It's like they really treat people. I mean, the luxury.
Yeah.
Walking into a luxury brand like that, you really feel like, oh wow, I want to be part of this.
Yeah.
And regardless whether it's a luxury or not, I mean, it's a known fact that in the country that the sales of BMW motorcycles
Outsell the car.
way surpass
Yeah.
the automobiles
Yeah.
by what 1.
to 5 or something.
Something like that.
Something like that.
6
It's a significant number.
Yeah, huge.
I only had my bike for like 3 months, and I maybe did 1,000 kilometers on my first bike, or maybe 2,000 kilometers. I made the mistake of asking Spencer Yu, because I bought my bike on my birthday. I said, next year, 2021, I'll buy another bike. So I'll start planning now. What do I want? I make the mistake. I call Spencer. Spencer, there's no demo unit of the model I want.
Yeah.
So I want to go to the showroom. Can you just let me sit on it and drive around the parking lot? Spencer's like, I'm pulling out the demo unit right now.
Oh, crap.
And I got
Activated.
so jahe. I got so jahe that Sunday. I was like, I'm not buying this. I am not. It's pandemic. I don't have money. Blah blah blah. I'm not buying this bike. Sunday, it's so easy to sell motorcycles. Sunday, I messaged a friend. I sold the bike I used
To him.
to that guy.
Oh, okay.
So I was like,
so dodge the bullet there.
Dodge the bullet. And then I couldn't sleep na. Wala na. I ended up getting a bike and Gino's like
we were
saying,
so
I know what
close.
you're doing. It's like, no, I am not. Next year. And
Yeah, so here was my thought process. I'm gonna give you a quick story. Because Mark already bought the 850 GS, and he had only been riding for what, 4 months? Not even.
yeah, unless.
Like 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months, 3 months.
So I was thinking, right, spend a year with that, right? Learn on that, and then you can proceed to the 1250. When he sent me the picture of him on the 1250, I was like, pucha, he's gonna go for this for sure.
And sure enough,
And sure enough, he did. And then his excuse was that he was able to sell the 800.
I was planning to keep both. That was a lie. That was the lie that came after.
So I'm kind of like the angel in his shoulder, telling him, "Hoy, relax, chill."
but apparently Mark has no chill.
Yeah, he has
but
no
it's-
chill.
Yeah, it's worth it. It was worth every cent. It was worth every cent.
I'm glad.
But he is correct that it is easy to sell motorcycles, secondhand motorcycles in the Philippines, and
I'm sure.
the value is still holds.
I'm so sure.
And especially if you're selling a BMW GS 800, 850, or those types of bikes, it's relatively easy to get rid of if you need the
If you
money.
need it, yeah.
This is what I like about motorcycles versus cars.
Yeah.
Why? What do I like about it? In your lifetime, you will, I say you will, be able to own your dream motorcycle. Within
But-
your lifetime. Because with my salary and everything in the automotive industry, I went through the exercise for, what if I wanted to buy a Ferrari? I computed. No.
Not gonna happen.
not gonna
Even if I don't eat for 20 years, it's still not happening with my salary. It's like, just to show that. But
a motorcycle?
I just have to sell a few toys, some things that I'm not using, then made it happen. So
It's more than possible.
it's more than possible. So for people owning a scooter, their dream bike is maybe a 300,000 peso.
Correct.
All they want to do is I met some people some of my friends in the mountains. They opened up with some of their dreams. Like, my dream is I just want to be able to enter the highway and feel what it feels like. So I guess I've taken that part for granted, that there's so many people whose dream is just to make
Pabutin on the
400
highway.
cc.
Yeah.
So
Above
parang
400.
it brought me down to reality. Parang, wow, I'm still quite lucky that I'm able to get what I want, but there's a whole community of people just waiting for the moment that they have enough to buy a 400cc bike.
Yeah.
And imagine what the dream. I mean, that's
Some things that some people take for
Leslie
granted.
sent me Iceland. It's motorbike in Iceland game. And that's and then some people it's just to reach the highway in NLEX SLEX. So parang it really melted my heart and
Yeah.
parang like, oh wow, parang sige. That's why I want to buy another bike so for friends to ride with me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we've taken up the better part of this show just talking to Mark, which has been an absolute pleasure. And the reason why we wanted to talk to Mark is just to show everyone exactly the kind of caliber that Mark is, that he knows really everything about cars and motorcycles. He's probably the best of Jinno and I put together all in one. And he's the one guy that we wanted to ask.
We'd probably be half of Mark if you put both of us together.
You're half the man I am. You always tell Gino, you're half the man I am.
I'll take it. So again, the beginning of the program, I wanted to ask you, Mark, and I'm sure we can relate it to Gino's question as well. Is that let's name the brand, okay? Let's say that it's a Ferrari and it's a GS 1250. Okay, are these machines really worth it? Are they worth you saving, not eating, going on a diet, forgetting Christmases, saying no to a significant other because you know it's going to be an expense, putting off a wedding?
Wow.
You know, is it all of it? Is all of it worth it? Is it when you get that automobile? Is it worth it? Is it worth it when you get that motorcycle? Now, mind you, our listeners are not all of our listeners are capable to be able to purchase these things at a whim's notice, as you may or may not be. I mean, as Gino mentioned, relativity is very different when it comes to you purchasing things. But is it worth it? Is that dream? Is it really a good reach?
Okay, so I sound like a life coach / attorney Robbie Consuni in this, but it all boils down for me. Number one is purpose. why are you buying it?
Because it looks damn
So a lot
good
of
and it
people
looks
think
go
that-
fast.
A lot of people think sometimes that I've seen it, I'll be happy once I get this.
Okay.
And then you get it, then you're not happy. I mean, I was reading an article and he put it so well the other day that my project car will never bring me happiness. It may bring an occasional smile to my face, but so there are people who are learning how, like me, I wanted to learn a new skill, and this is my purpose. There are people who end up buying a bike, like the biggest, baddest sports bike.
Yeah, yeah.
Own it for a month, scare the shit out of themselves. And so, what's your purpose, Muna? So I was very specific. I want to drive off-road and learn how to explore the country off the beaten track. That's my purpose. And this is the right tool. And traffic. It gets me through traffic. Because I was not in it with my ADHD and traffic, no? But what is the purpose, no? And for other people, the purpose is to show off. Fine.
Okay.
That's your purpose. So, diba? It really depends what the purpose of buying. Make sure muna what the purpose is. Why are you buying it?
Yeah.
And there are people who say, because I want to flaunt my wealth. Fine. Just make sure you're doing it for the right reason. If you're going to say that I'm going to be happy one day once I have this sports car, it's not, I discourage that. No, dig in deeper. Why are you buying this? Because a lot of people are reaching a certain age also, apparently, like, I have to have, the most typical thing is, I want to have a Ferrari before I'm 50. Yeah, like that. But I would dig deeper, So what's it for? What will you use it for? So there are people who just want it in the garage to look at.
A trophy.
Yeah. And once you've cleared all of that and you really know why you're buying it, it's worth every cent both ways.
Okay.
It's worth every cent both
So long as you know what the purpose
Yeah,
is.
what's the purpose, diba? Because I'm very, my obsession, like if I have a watch, it has to match something I do in life. Yeah, it's really,
It's true.
So the car, I just want to point out, just because of this awesome article I read, don't think it's going to make you happy. Don't think the car is going to make you happy. And I've seen it over and over again. And there's this over the years, that's what I've seen. People keep on buying this because I'm going to be happy. After this, I'm going to be happy. After that one. And they still find themselves empty after that.
Yeah.
No. But I'd like to point out with sports cars, so a lot of people are dreaming big. A big factor also is, what can you afford?
Yes.
So people are, I got some Ferrari owners in MX-5s, and they're so happy. They can't believe the purity of the car, a manual, how many liter engine?
2 liter.
2 liter engine, 180 horsepower. They're shocked from their 40 million peso car to the amount of quote unquote happiness. A 1.8 million peso car, they're blown away.
Yeah.
So, which again brings me to purpose. You can find your purpose in something not that expensive.
True.
You can find that. I encourage the people who are starting out to find the car, number one, that you can afford. So 200, 300,000. I fell in love with the MX-5 driving a 20-year-old car in the US. It was 90 horsepower or 100 horsepower. And diba, if your purpose is the enjoyment of driving, you don't need 20 million bucks.
Correct.
You don't need 30 million bucks.
Correct.
You can find happiness, that happiness of driving
Correct.
in something much cheaper. And the same is with motorbikes. So if you're clear with your purpose, I've never thought of this. It's the first time I'm thinking of all of this now. Once you're clear of your purpose, you don't fixate on the biggest, baddest thing. No? You can find something that will be. I always tell Gino, this is the best It's my first bike was 90,000 pesos. 30 million Ferrari. This 90,000 peso third bike gives me more happiness. My dad will shoot me for that. But of course, I'm looking forward to my drive with a 800 horsepower Ferrari on Sunday.
Correct.
But once you're clear with your purpose, you have the options there's so much more opens up. I hope it made sense.
Yeah, no, it did.
It did.
Absolutely,
Completely, yeah.
100% made sense.
I've never thought of that. Sorry.
No, good.
That's one way. That's one great way of actually looking at it. I think Gino and I share the same sentiments that when when you're buying not the top end tier car or motorcycle, but Gino points out that if you're going to buy a motorcycle, if you're starting out, the first thing that you really need to do is invest in yourself, meaning classes.
Yes.
In the same way with a car, the first thing that you should do is also learn how to properly drive, go to take the proper lessons and whatnot, and don't just jump in there. And recently it was brought to our attention that not just because you know how to drive a motorcycle doesn't mean that you know how to drive a car, and vice versa, because if you know how to drive a car doesn't mean that you know how to drive a motorcycle. So I think although sometimes it may seem like that Gino and I don't necessarily answer the questions that are posed to us, that what is the best car for what is the best car, what is the best motorcycle, or like what we just asked you, is getting that top end car really worth it? You have to essentially look at the factors behind it to be able to answer that question in itself.
And I always answer people when they ask me, what's the best car for you? I always answer them, it's the car I can afford. I want to race the Ferrari Challenge, but I don't have $1 million a year.
Yeah.
So what do I race? I find my pleasure in the Vios Cup. It's true. It's just being practical.
True. Yeah.
And just because you're being practical, whether it's in a motorcycle or in a car, doesn't mean that you can't find enjoyment in it after all.
Yeah.
Wow, did I make sense?
You actually made sense for the first time I've ever heard you talk.
Yes, first time.
Yeah.
There's a first time for everything, isn't
So
there?
this is like a very, very quick snippet of Coach Marc Soong.
Just before we go, Mark, is there anywhere that people can get in touch with you for?
You know, over the pandemic, people have been reaching out to me, complete strangers, online. So it's at Marc Soong, at MarcSoong. And I've done online coaching sessions with complete strangers for free. And I assign them good tasks na lang after. Because it's not cheap. Our rate is a global rate that we're part of a small group of people.
Correct.
It's $7.5 a session.
Wow, it is not.
So I have a charity aspect where I ask people to donate to their choice of charity, or my choice, which is
So hence why you said a task.
or make a wish. Or if they really, really can't afford it, I just say be kind to someone. Or sometimes even they get shocked with my challenges. Be kind to yourself tomorrow. Do something nice for yourself, because I find people depriving. They're nice to everyone else, but they're so harsh on themselves. Like, do something good for you. So sometimes it's a mix of that. But I want to challenge if Frankie and Danny are listening. We'll take their bonus if they come. But I want to take you. We should do a show, AutoDeal, MotoDeal crossover.
Yes.
Teach you how to dirt bike.
Dirt bike.
Yes, I'll find a bike that I'll take care of you. Don't worry. Actually, your son can relearn with you the same day.
That's true. I will say yes. Eventually, we'll figure it out. But my first question for that, I'm sorry, we're extending a little bit, but my first question would be: should you learn how to off-road in an automobile first before you off-road in a motorcycle?
Purpose. If you're never gonna go off-road, that's why sometimes I find it funny that everyone's looking for a 4x4, but the 4x4, it's never engaged. Yeah. Most of the lifetime.
Guilty. Guilty.
That's
right
you.
here. Right here.
Yeah,
Guilty.
So it boils down to purpose again.
Yeah. Mark, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for being our very first guest. Thank you for being an awesome guest. Gino, any?
Yeah, no, I super appreciate you saying yes. I kind of was super kulit making you join, but yeah, I mean, I knew you would be a great guest because, again, cars, bikes, that is you, but also
his cuentos are awesome.
The stories that you shared, and even the advice that you give. I knew that you would give better advice than Caco and I put together.
That's true. It's sad but true.
And I also want to say that I super appreciate everything because people may not notice, but I work for MotoDeal, mostly I would say because of Mark.
Why do you guys think I'm in this chair?
Right?
Yep.
So there's a reason why Marc Soong is here, and it's something that he always says to me during our coaching gatherings, is that you are where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I think Mark, he kind of epitomizes that. He is where he's supposed to be, and it's because that's where you are. So thank you very much for saying yes. Thank you very much for everything that you've done
I know I still have utang to you, but everything that you've done.
That's a different story. That's complete bad influence. We'll tell you after the show.
Yeah. But yeah, so thank you very much, everybody, for listening. My name is Gino Rufino. That is Caco Terona. We are Torque of the Town, and then we are uploaded every Wednesday, 10 a.m.
This has been Torque of the Town, a podcast produced by AutoDeal and MotoDeal. To learn more about our products and services, head on over to AutoDeal.com.ph and or MotoDeal.com.ph, as well as our social media pages and our YouTube channels. Torque of the Town is powered by Podcast Network Asia and Podmetrics. See you Wednesdays at 10 a.m.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.